All right. So today I'm going to cover how we are generating over seven figures with email and SMS marketing for this pet brand right here. So FYI, this is a replenishable product. So this is something people replenish every 30 days to 60 days. This is not going to be a case study tailor, for like people selling durable goods. So things people only purchase every year, 5, 10 years. It's a replenishable. So if you're selling skincare, supplements, coffee brand, or any replenishable really, this is going to be super helpful, especially if you're making between 1 and 20 million a year with your brand. So this is going to be extremely helpful on this. I'm going to cover the basics, pretty much what makes up 80 to 90% of all the results you'll get from email and SMS marketing. So if you doubt this, what I'm going to cover in this video, then it's going to be perfect for your brand specific for the next like 5 or 10 years. So that being said, the first step and the foundation is really the backbone of your entire email marketing strategy should be your lead capturing system. So how well you convert your traffic and how well that traffic that you capture eventually converts as well, right? So for this specific brand, we have a couple of pop-ups currently. For the desktop one is converting around 17%, and the mobile one is around 23%, which is extremely good. And in order to get here, we had a bunch of different A/B tests I'm going to cover in a moment. So these pop-ups are converting around 20%, which is significantly above the industry average of 5 to 8%. The offer right now is a mystery discount, right? So that's how we frame the offer itself. Instead of repeating the incentive immediately, subscribers have to open emails and then, of course, like go through the sign-up process to discover what they receive at the end, which in this case is only 5%. So we're actually giving out way less margin because that from a business, just economics, that's what makes sense right now. At the same time, we're converting extremely well, right? So this works extremely well because it leverages curiosity and uncertainty. People naturally want to know what they got, which increases both opt-in rates and email engagement. Key detail here is that we reveal the discount both after sign up and then also, of course, on the welcome series, right? So this results in a better customer experience and a higher leads conversion rate because they don't necessarily need to go to the welcome series, which is something I see all the time, in order to get the code or the mystery discount, if you will, right? We tested multiple offers before landing this winner right here, including percentage discounts, so being upfront with the offer, like 10, 15, even 20%, dollar discounts for shipping and also free gifts with the first purchase. The mystery discount outperformed every other variation. On both like opt-in rates, which is extremely important, but also the lead to conversion rates, they didn't really outperform. Like the mystery discount didn't really have a super high lead to conversion rate compared to the others, but it was pretty much the same. It was not declining. It was not worse. It was the same. However, again, the opt-in rate was much higher, which all these combined, of course, results in a much, much better pop-up strategy, right? And then we also use different trigger strategies depending on the device. For mobile, mainly time delay plus a scroll depth percentage, and then desktop just exit intent, right? For this brand also, by the way, we actually use, not for this brand right here, but I highly recommend using Alia for pop-ups in general. We typically see a much higher sign-up rate with Alia. Actually, for this brand right here, I recommend we're going to be implementing Alia very soon. But I highly recommend like guys, if you're running an e-commerce brand, you actually give Alia a try. It works extremely well. Especially again, we tend to see way higher sign-up rate with Alia pop-ups. Plus, they look really great. And then you can also collect some zero-party data on those pop-ups as well. So that's a win-win situation. Next step, the next pillar of this foundation that actually resulted in those results is the flow infrastructure. Plain and simple. So the automated flows are the backbone of the entire retention strategy, along with the pop-ups, where most of the revenue is generated on autopilot, right? We have for this brand right here, we have the full core flow structure built up for this brand, including welcome series, site abandonment, product abandonment, cart plus checkout, post-purchase, VIP win-back, and sunset and engage. I've got plenty of videos detailing how to structure what this strategy is behind each one of these. So feel free to check out my YouTube channel. Every stage of the funnel journey is covered, right? That said, there are three flows doing the heavy lifting for this pet brand specifically. One, the post-purchase. Second, the replenishment reminder flow. And then third one is the subscription flow. These are the flows driving repeat purchases in LTV for most brands. Like these are like the pre-purchase flows are pretty, I mean, they're important, obviously extremely important. Like most of the flow revenue always come from the welcome, the browse or product abandonment, and then the abandoned checkout plus the post-purchase. However, if you truly want to build a retention engine that actually increases LTV repeat purchases, your post-purchase sequences are more advanced, but that actually are what increases the LTV and your true retention, macro retention metrics, right? So that's why the post, in this case, and again, if you're running these replenishable, the post-purchase replenishment and the subscription flows are so important, okay? So just to cover the post-purchase flow, for a pet brand, the post-purchase flow is critical because pet owners are emotionally invested in the products they buy or their animals, of course, like their baits, right? The goal is to reinforce trust, educate the customer, and drive the second purchase as quickly as possible. If you have a customer, like most churn happens before the fourth order. So if you get someone to purchase from you 4 times, you pretty much want them pretty much forever, right? So the challenge of any e-commerce brand somewhere at this stage is getting to that fourth purchase and getting, of course, to at least the second one as soon as possible, and then the third one, the fourth one, extremely important. Just keep that in mind for future, just overall. If there's something you can take away from this video, is that, right? The flow, so the post-purchase flow starts immediately after purchase with a thank you email that pushes customers to brand's from our Facebook community. Okay, this keeps engagement high while they wait for the delivery. Okay, shortly after, we send a cross-sell email with a strong time-sensitive offer on complementary products. These emails consistently perform well because the customer is already buying or they already purchased. So I think the saying goes, strike while the iron is still hot or something like that. But you get the point, right? Once the order is fulfilled, so it's a different trigger within that same post-purchase experience, the flow shifts to education, right? How to use the products, the fitness storage guidelines, what to expect in the first few days and weeks. This is especially important for pet brands because education reduces confusion, improves the customer experience, and lowers return rates, essentially, and support tickets, right? Then after that, the next emails focus on social proof, customer stories, reviews, omnipresence across channels. Again, if you can just take some people to your Facebook group, for instance, or something like that, or your Instagram page, you can take them there. And that way, essentially utilize omnipresence because eventually people will churn from your email channels and SMS channels. So you want to stay omnipresent as much as you can. Okay? That's why social media is bringing people to your social channels is also very important. Okay, but at the end of this sequence, the customer is not only more likely to reorder, which is extremely important, but also more connected to the brand ecosystem overall. And it doesn't necessarily need to be super complicated. For example, for this brand right here, text-based email is going over some education to get the most, in this case, of their meal plan, right? So very simple and straightforward. The other flow I mentioned is the replenishment flow. So here, the replenishment flow is designed to turn one-time buyers into repeat customers automatically. For consumable pet products or any consumable really, this becomes a major revenue driver. The logic is simple. We remind customers with this flow right here to reorder before they run out. This flow uses dynamic product blocks showing previous purchases, one-click reorder paths, subscription-focused messaging as well, and then increasing urgency throughout the sequence. The first email act as reminders, while later emails introduce stronger urgency and subscription incentives. The final email is fully focused on converting the customer into a subscriber by emphasizing convenience, savings, flexibility, and never running out again. This flow alone converts a meaningful percentage of one-time buyers into recurring subscribers. Because besides reminding people to, again, reorder a one-time purchase, we also pitch the subscription quadra as well. Because if they're going to run out of the products, then might as well pitch the subscription where if they subscribe, these will never happen again, right? That's kind of the overall like high-level pitch. Very simple to create with, of course, Klaviyo as well. So you can have dynamic logs, as I mentioned before, with the product they purchased previously, and just asking people to just try that again, just like this example right here. Grab your favorites or try something new, right? As well. Finally, the subscription flow, really important. This subscription flow has two main objectives. One, convert customers into subscribers, and then reduce subscriber churn over time. Although this one can be also done, I mean, for example, converting, if they enter this flow, for the most part, they're already subscribers. You can have a trigger where if they subscribe, it could be through loop or recharge. That's the trigger, and that's when you trigger this flow right here, right? So yeah, as I mentioned before, the first part, so converting customers into subscribers, lives inside the post-purchase flow. After a customer have had time to use the product, non-subscribers enter a dedicated subscription sequence focused on savings, convenience, flexibility, subscription lifestyle benefits. Existing subscribers obviously skip this sequence entirely through condition splits, right? The second part, reducing subscriber churn over time, is the pre-charge reminder flow or reminder angles, right? Customers receive reminders 3 to 5 days before renewal with options to skip, swap, or adjust their subscription. This creates transparency and significantly reduces involuntary churn because customers still in control of the experience. We also run a cancel subscriber feedback flow that re-engages churn subscribers over 30 to 45 days using resubscribe incentives, product updates, and the reminder messaging around the benefits they're missing. Together, these three flows, plus of course the entire flow infrastructure, become the engine driving repeat purchase rate and LTV for the brand. Because they're automated, they work 24/7 without requiring constant manual work, manual effort. Very important as well that I did forget to mention here is that obviously subscribers should receive a completely different campaign strategy that I'm going to cover later than non-subscribers, right? A subscriber is already bought in. You shouldn't have that many emails going out to them, like one-off campaigns going out to them, to be honest, because there's no need. They're already subscribed. So might as well tone down the volume a little bit with those campaigns, one-off campaigns, right? And by the way, those campaigns, I'm going to cover that later in a moment. But yeah, just to recap here, extremely important to have this flow infrastructure in place. And also, again, for your subscribers, have a different content calendar, typically a way lower campaign frequency than your non-subscribers. Next pillar here, which is extremely important, is deliverability. Deliverability is one of the least glamorous parts of email marketing, but it's the foundation everything else depends on. If the emails don't land in the inbox, of course, nothing else matters. You're just wasting time and resources, okay? The first priority is the technical setup. We use a dedicated customer sending domain with its separate subdomain specifically for marketing emails. In this case, right? It's mandatory, but for this brand right here, we actually use a subdomain. SPF, DKIM, and DMARC are all fully configured to properly authenticate every send as well. The second priority is list hygiene, which is something I see most brands skip, even like bigger brands paying thousands for Klaviyo. The list is cleaned every single month, right before the billing date. Really important. And what we do is we get rid of hard balances are suppressed immediately, stock complainers, and also unengaged subscribers. This is a default kind of unengaged segment you can take a screenshot of in order to just get rid of these people right here from your email list, and then you can reduce your Klaviyo bill and then pay less and just keep your email list clean. All right. So if someone doesn't re-engage after 2 emails with the sunset flow, for instance, they get suppressed permanently. This keeps sender reputation healthy, engagement rates high, and it reduces Klaviyo costs for removing dead weight from the account. We also set campaigns based on engagement levels instead of blasting the entire email list every single time. Most campaigns, to be honest, go to the engaged 90-day segment because the metrics are really healthy already. So there's no need to just go 30 or 60. We could even go like 180. So it's not going to make a huge difference, but like most sends go to this segment right here, which is the engaged 90-day segment. This protects deliverability while keeping open rates consistently strong. Finally, deliverability is monitored weekly using, and this is something we do with pretty much all the brands we work with, is using Google Postmasters tool. MX toolbox for making sure the domain is not blacklisted, and then the Klaviyo domain lab reporting. The Klaviyo reporting system is when we actually use it for just to see what the open rates are looking like, what the open rates are looking like per domain or per inbox provider. So Hotmail, Gmail, Yahoo, etc., etc., etc. This allows us to quickly catch issues like stock complaints, blacklist problems, or inbox placement drops for the e-commerce service problems. The result, which is why we do all of this, is consistent, strong inbox placement across Gmail, Outlook, and Yahoo, which ensures relevant campaigns are actually being seen and slightly traffic. All right. Now, next part, which is really important as well, is the campaign calendar. So our campaign strategy is built to run consistency and balance. We send between 4 to 5 emails a week, enough to stay top of mind without overwhelming the audience with just a plethora of different, very boring emails, The key is the content mix. If every email is promotional, customers eventually only buy when there's a discount. For a consumable pet brand, we want customers buy because their dog needs product, not because there's a promo going on, right? A large portion of the calendar is educational content. So pet health tips, ingredient breakdowns, digestive joint health guides. These positions the brand as an authority while building trust with pet owners. We also heavily use social proof like customer stories. This is actually an angle we actually use quite a lot, is customer stories, reviews, UGC, or photos of just happy pets, This works extremely well because the pet content is naturally emotional, relatable, and engaging, right? And then finally, another one we actually use quite a lot is product focused campaigns are another core part of the strategy. These emails highlight specific products, bundles, or new launches while expanding awareness around the full product catalog. Promotional campaigns still exist, but they only make up 10 to 20% of the entire calendar. This keeps urgency high without creating discount dependency. We also include founder and community-driven content like plain text founder emails, behind-the-scenes updates, and brand storytelling. These emails feel more personal and help strengthen the connection beyond just the product itself, right? Like something like, I don't have an example here, but like text-based emails perform really well. Like for example, if I go here, email types, plain text, real quick. I love using Mailboard, by the way. There's a bunch of good stuff in here. So for instance, hey, hi there. Dr. Craig here with your free guide to protein and weight loss, etc., etc. Just plain text, very simple to create. If you have issues creating content like text-based emails, are always a great option. All right. So the overall goal is to keep subscribers engaged long term through a healthy mix of education, entertainment, community, and promotion, basically. Because the audience is not constantly being sold to, promotional emails tend to perform significantly better when they do go out. If, of course, you have promos every single week, then it's not that special, right? However, if you have a promo every month or so, then of course it's special. Okay. Like we actually love to have education angles. For example, this one right here could be a myth debunk type angle that works really well. Like dog nutrition myths debunk, and then we just go over the different myths, and then of course at the end we just promote our products in a very natural and subtle way as well. Okay. Now, finally, we've got something that again I see just a few brands doing, which is constant A/B testing. So there's never a week where we don't have at least one test running for this brand. Usually it's like 3 at a time, right? This is the reason the account, and it could be like very small improvements. This is why the account keeps improving month after month, right? The pop-up didn't, of course, start 20% conversion rate. The flows didn't launch fully optimized. And the performance we have today came from months of systematic testing. And I highly recommend you have at least one test going out every single week, okay? So we started by testing multiple pop-up offers. As I mentioned before, it's going to be backbone, right? So we tested percentage, dollar, free shipping, free gifts, mystery discount. The mystery discount in the beginning became the winner on both opt-in rate and also lead to conversion rate, or the lead to conversion rate stayed the same, but the opt-in rate honestly skyrocketed. And then after that, we shifted into testing triggers, timing, and design elements. We also constantly test the highest impact flows. Because as I mentioned before, Like most of the flow revenue always come from this right here, the welcome, abandoned checkout, post purchase. Most of these tests focus very simply on subject lines. Also, the first emails of those flows we tested. I think I'm going to cover that later, but we tested like different formats, different components within the emails themselves as well. Um, and the reason why we test subject lines is because even small improvements in open rates compound into significant revenue over time. One of the most impactful tests was laying the abandoned checkout discount from email to number three. Conversion rate stayed pretty much the same, but margins improve, of course, significantly because we're not giving up margin unnecessarily, right? Every campaign also includes a subject line A/B test. Not every campaign, but for sure, the first email of every core flow. So again, you welcome, browse abandonment, abandoned checkout, and post-purchase sequences. The first two emails always have a subject line A/B test running for sure. It only takes a few minutes to set up, but over time, it generates valuable data across every step, right? We've also tested different email formats for this brand. Plan takes here, by the way, and every flow or every core flow or every first email of every core flow. I think that's better. But anyway, so we also tested different email formats for this brand. Plain text emails perform best for education founder content, which is not surprising, and graphic heavy emails perform best for highlights and social proof. So instead of forcing one style everywhere, we use each format where it performs best, right? Finally, every single test is documented in a centralized tracking sheet. So hypothesis, variables tested, and KPI result. Honestly, very simple. Google Sheet works really well here. Just again, where you can just centralize every single A/B test. Otherwise, you cannot keep track of everything, right? So you need to have a hypothesis, the variable that was actually tested, the KPI is shooting forward that you wanna measure, and then the result of that A/B test. Over time, this document, this Google Sheet, all this information, all these centralized A/B tests becomes the brand's internal email playbook and removes guesswork from future optimizations. The biggest takeaway here is that growth rarely comes from one massive change, to be honest. It comes from stacking small wins consistently over months until the entire channel performs at a completely different level. All right. So as you can see, this is pretty basic. These are the foundations done right. And this is what a successful retention program actually looks like. It's dialing in the 80 to 90% of the so like this right here, this foundation is like 80 to 90% of a successful retention strategy. So again, if you're running a plan that sells one, a replenishable, and then two, it is doing between, I'd say, up to 20 million a year. This is the playbook you should run, okay? And of course, if you need help from a team of experts to scale retention strategy, please book a call using the link below, in the description box below. I'll be more than happy to just take a look at your Klaviyo setup or whatever ESP you're using and put together a free, in-depth audit for you, retention audit for you with a specific attack and see if we can actually help you, right? So yeah, with that being said, thanks so much for watching and I really hope to talk to you soon. Take care.